Good morning!
Greetings, I am Ada, the Reliability and Persistent Lead. My audit focused on the app's ability and our strict requirement for offline persistence that is defined in our business rule number 4. So let's carry on. So the AI generated the code based under the happy path assumption, which assuming there's a perfect uninterrupted network connection. So, however, when I deconstructed the navigation logic, I identified two fatal flaws. One is the context degradation, and the other one is the offline persistent failure. So the AI executed a screen pop command immediately following a long running remote database. Right. So if a student connection dropped or they navigated away during that ride, the app would crash because it tried to use a context that was no longer mounted in a widget tree. Then, I manually refactor the logic to introduce a lifecycle guide that is the context.mounted return. This will prevent these crashes. Furthermore, to satisfy the BR4 that is the business rule number 4, I built an offline fallback layer. I modified the river port stream so that if the remote firestore fetch failed due to cellular dead zone inside the Fskpm building. For example, if you're on the way to your faculty, if you're in the toilet, if you're in the ground floor, they might have a dead zone. Then the app will automatically watch the local hive box to retrieve the cache receipts. This ensures students can always access the verification barcodes, proving that human engineering is indeed required to build this system for the real-world environment.
Hello, I am Belonia L, the State Management Architect. My responsibility was to audit how the AI synchronized data between the students' interface and the staff dashboard. The AI introduced a several state management anti-pattern. It relied exclusively on localized set state mutation to handle global transaction updates. For example, it used set state to change a print job to pet because this mutation was isolated to the specific widget's execution scope. It's completely desynchronized the apps. When the kiosk operator updated the payment status, the student screen remained unchanged. To fix this, I ripped out the localized mutation and implemented a centralized, globally reactive state tree using Riverport. I refactored the code base to watch a live queue stream from Firestore via an async notifier provider. This created a single deterministic sources of truth. Now, when the operator updates the status to pet or printing, the remote database mutates and the student UI reacts and updates instantly. AI engine lack the contextual awareness to natively build multi-user synchronization, which is why a strictly enforced state architecture is necessary.
Hi everyone, my name is Ong Hui En and my matrix number is 100734. I'm the Backend and Data Integrity Lead. My GDVRR audit center on the data layer and ensuring the AI respected our clean architecture mandate. I found a glaring architecture layer violations in the AI's output. To quickly generate functional code, the AI wrote raw Firebase Firestore collection codes directly inside the on-premises triggers of our frontal UI widgets. This spaghetti code approach directly coupled our presentation layer to a third-party remote database. It made the code impossible to unit test and violated the core principle of separation of concerns. I manually refactored the codebase to enforce the repository pattern. I stripped all Firebase drivers out of the widgets and abstracted them behind a clean other repository provider. The UI is not entirely passive, it simply calls submit job and lets the domain layer handle the remote query and business rule to guardrails. This audit demonstrates that while LLMs optimize for rapid task completion, human engineers must step in to enforce programmatic discipline and abstract infrastructure behind strict interface boundaries.
Good day panel, I am Rachel, the Security and Auth Lead. My audit targeted the system authentication sequences and role-based asset control. When reviewing the AI logic, I uncovered a critical role-based access control defect. Alongside context degradation, the AI utilized a flag authorization check. It merely verified if the user object was not null, and then instantly routed them to a generalized view. It completely bypassed our NoSQL metadata schema, failing to differentiate between student and admin roles. This left the administrative staff dashboard entirely vulnerable to horizontal privilege escalation. I rewrote the authentication sequence to force a secure asynchronous query. My refactor call awaits the user-specific roles from the database metadata before making any routine decision. I also implemented mounting guards to stabilize the widget tree during dispatch. AI tools inherently default to the simplest flattest security scheme. It requires human foresight to deliberately build protective routing gates and validate authorization before outdating the visual tree.
Good morning, Doctor. I'm Florencia, the UI or UX and interaction engineer for this project. During the GDVRR audit, my focus was on the presentation layer and how the AI handle our tiered pricing business rule or BR1. When deconstructing the AI generated code base, I found a critical presentation layer defects. The AI attempted to squeeze our complex tiered pricing model into cramped horizontal radio list style widget. On a standard mobile screen, this caused several tag clipping, rendering the price unreadable. For example, fragmental black and white RM 30 cents. Additionally, the AI failed to include a localized state toggle for password visibility, introduction several interaction friction. The AI accidentally lacks visual and spatial awareness of actually mobile viewport. To correct this, I manually inverness and rewrote the UI using spacious material tree choose card wrapped in an expanded raw layout. This ensured the pricing tie were dynamically responsive to the screen width. I was implemented a standard state divisibility toggle for the password fields. My audit proved that while generative model can output UI code, human outshines its mandatory to ensure accessibility and responsive layout stability on physical device.